Welcome, everybody. It's another wonderful Monday night here on Chewin the BBQ Fat. I'm excited. Tonight's going to be a little different than our past nights, but this is going to be hoping for one of the biggest talks we've had yet. Super excited for what we've got going on tonight. Make like this, share this, get this out to as many people as we can. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, whatever you need to do. But tonight is going to be a fun night. Real quick, before we get into it, I had a great weekend. Went out to Lubbock, Texas, and took Boomerang's class. Incredible class. Learned a lot. Y'all missed it. It was great. It was great. It was a great class. Learned, had a good opportunity to meet a lot of new people too. So a lot of fun. Hopefully you're out there learning, trying to get better. As you can see, my background had changed a little bit. Brought my bourbons down, bourbons, whiskeys, whatever. Brought them down and have a new background tonight. So maybe that'll be our new background. But I am so excited tonight to bring on a guy that just in Nashville and all over the U.S. He is BBQ and Bourbon. So I'm going to bring on Carey real quick. Peg leg porker.
Hey,
Carey,
Brian.
how you doing tonight?
I'm good. How about you, Brian?
Oh, I'm awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming on. I tell you what, my buddy Robert Vanderright with Smoke Me Silly out of Alabama, I told him you were coming on. He's like, oh boy, do you know who you got coming on? I was like, I know. I'm very excited about it. It's going to be a great night. But not only are you in BBQ and Bourbon, you do a little bit of everything. I saw Fox Business was interviewing you last week. By the time you said you'd come on the show, I was like, oh my God, he's going from Fox Business to Chewin the BBQ Fat.
Well, it looks like we got a great show here, and I'm proud to be a part of it tonight.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Like I said, I appreciate you coming on. Let me see if I can't get these comments going. So everybody knows you, but I want to give everybody an opportunity, tell everybody a little bit about yourself in the barbecue world and the bourbon world and the restaurant world. Just go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody.
Yeah, well, I'm Carey Bringle, and I'm the owner of Peg Leg Porker Brands, and we have a restaurant in Nashville. Our specialty is West Tennessee style barbecue, or real Tennessee barbecue, which is we do dry ribs, and then we also do yard bird, but we don't do any beef at our restaurant. It's all pork and chicken. I'm also the owner of Peg Leg Porker Spirits, and we have a line of bourbon. We've got our white label, which is a 4 to 6 year old, a gray label, which is 8-year-old, and our black label, which is a 12-year-old. We just released our Pitmaster Reserve, which is a 15-year-old limited edition. And so been doing I've had the restaurant for about 8 years and the bourbon business for about 7.5. We also manufacture a line of smokers called the BMF 200 and have some other clothing and food businesses that we do. And so it's really a full lifestyle brand. I literally am the Peg Leg Porker. I've got one leg, and that's where I got my name. And I'm here in Nashville, Tennessee, and was born and raised here, but my roots are in Memphis. My family was all from Memphis and West Tennessee, and that's where I learned to cook barbecue from my Uncle Bruce.
Nice. I noticed on your website, I was looking at your website, and y'all do not cook brisket there at your restaurant.
We don't. We're straight real Tennessee barbecue. When I was growing up, nobody in Tennessee was cooking brisket. It just wasn't a thing. They'd say, go to Texas, and that's not barbecue, that's a steak. And so I love brisket. And in fact, we just started building out a new restaurant that will be opening next year called Bringle's Smoking Oasis. And it'll be a Texas-style barbecue place. And we will do brisket and beef ribs and some different items than we do at Peg Leg Porker.
That's awesome. That's cool. Yeah. So let's talk. So this is a competition barbecue show. So I know you're big at Memphis in May. You said you've been competing in Memphis in May for 28 years, you said?
I think I've competed in Memphis in May for 28 years. And of course, this year we missed it because of COVID, but we'll be back next year. And my uncle competed in the very first Memphis in May. I've got the apron from the very first time that they ever held Memphis in May.
Wow. Cool. So, what I believe What do you know? I know you in 2016 you got third place whole hog, but what do you normally cook? Is that your normal thing, or do you change it up?
We were in shoulders for the majority of the time that I've competed down there. So I was on a team called Hog Wild. I was a founding member of that team with Ernie Miller and Trip Murray, and we competed in the shoulder category. And then after about 12 years, I think I broke loose from Hog Wild and started my own team, the Peg Leg Porkers, and cooked in shoulder for the majority of the time that I've been down there. I think in 2015, maybe in 2016, was the first time we did whole hog. And we actually had a whole hog team and a shoulder team for about 2 or 3 years. And then last year we went to straight whole hog, and we don't compete in the shoulder category anymore.
So what's the difference? What was the biggest difference going from shoulder to whole hog cooking?
I didn't have to compete against Chris Lilly anymore. He was going to win it every damn year. Chris and I are good friends, and but he's got that shoulder down, and so it just we were always in a section that we called Murderers Row, and the competition was very heavy where we were placed in the park, and I just we like to do whole hog and compete in whole hog because we know we've got a really great product. We use my buddy Tank Jackson, Holy City Hogs. We use his hogs, and he's got really great pigs. And so we've been able to turn in a really great product every year with some of his hogs.
Nice. What would you say the biggest difference between restaurant cooking and Memphis and May or competition style cooking is?
Well, there's a lot of difference nowadays. When I first started, there wasn't any difference. You cooked what you would cook at your restaurant or what you would cook for your family, and you threw it in a box and you turned it in. And then when the judge came on site, you'd explain to him why you thought yours was the best. But it was pretty normal cooking. It has evolved over the years, and really, it's become kind of more bastardized. It's a very different. It's a very different product that you're producing for a competition than you are in the restaurant. The judges expect some burst of flavor, something that's unique that sets your barbecue apart from just normal everyday barbecue. And so you're typically doing more injections, or you're doing, maybe a different type of sauce than you would serve every day. At least for us, we serve something that's different in the competition than we do at the restaurant. Our barbecue at the restaurant is great, but if I were to go do a competition and turn in a dry rib, chances are it wouldn't fare very well with the judges. The judges have been conditioned these days for a very specific flavor profile, and so that's changed the game up. And as they got conditioned, depending on who taught them in their class, then they got used to that style of barbecue, and that's what they're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's been the topic of conversation for the past. That I don't know what the solution is to it or anything else, but all right. So, best barbecue in Nashville right here. Great you at the restaurant. Are you coming back to Danville, Kentucky in 2021?
Yeah, I think we were supposed to have our 10-year anniversary in Danville this year, and it got postponed. So I would say that we'll be up there next year. It's close, and we like those guys. And now they do it on the campus of Wilderness Trail, which has been very cool. A great bourbon company up there, and good folks.
Well, I want to get into the bourbon, if you don't mind, a little bit, because I'm new to collecting bourbons, trying to drink them, figuring them all out. So, I mean, it's been a lot of fun. As you can see, I've got a few behind me, nothing major. But I was at my local package store, and I saw the Pitmaster Reserve. I saw the 15-year, right? And I've heard about it and talked about how they were explaining to me how different it was because it was a pit master. And I do competition barbecue, and I was just listening to them talk about pit masters getting into barbecue. I don't know if they knew that I was into barbecue. So I was very intrigued by it.
Yeah.
But so I picked it up, very excited. It's amazing. The packaging and everything else on it is incredible. I can go ahead and open it up for those that haven't seen it. But tell me what's special about your bourbon.
Yeah, so I'm a non-distilling producer, and I've never been shy about telling people that. We source our bourbon. It's distilled and aged in Tennessee, and rather than just take it and put it in our own package, we wanted to make it our unique blend and flavor. So what we do is after we debarrel it, I developed a process where I burn down hickory charcoal. We load it into a filter, and we run that bourbon through that hickory charcoal after it's blended and proofed down, and then so it gives it my unique flavor and taste. And so it adds a little, touch of barbecue in there without being overly smoky or without being, bitter or acrid because of the smoke. By going through coals after they've been burned down, it picks up just a hint. It filters out a little bit more impurities, gives it a smooth, bold taste, but it's not a smoked product. So I think that it pairs excellent with barbecue. And I'm a bourbon guy through and through, and always have been. We proof ours at 90 proof, which I think is really a bourbon drinker's proof. We may do some barrel proofs or maybe a higher proof in this next year, but developing that technique really gives it our signature flavor and taste. And it's been a winner. We've won some medals in San Francisco World Spirits. We've won gold, double gold. We won platinum at the SIP Awards. And so then we've won some awards for packaging, and we hope to win some awards on that 15-year-old.
I'm telling you what, it's a great looking bottle. I mean, it looks delicious. I can't wait. I don't know if I'll ever open it up. I've got bottle number 798.
You got to open it. You got to open it and try it.
I will.
Yeah.
That'll probably stay in my barbecue trailer, and as soon as I win my next grant, I'll probably have a sip out of it. So it'll be good.
There you go. Well, that'd be great.
And if I go up to my store and they still have a bottle, I might pick up one more bottle so I can have one to keep and one to drink on, because it's going to be. I've heard wonderful things about it. Like you said, you winning awards with it. I believe it was a top 20 in the Whiskey Advocates or something like that today. I saw.
Yeah, we just found that out today, so that was nice. Being named a top 20 and Whiskey Advocate, that was a big deal for us.
I would say so. I would say that's a big deal. And it's your first 15 year, as you said, correct?
It is, yeah. And so we've taken the company now to where, we've sourced our bourbon because we wanted those higher ages, and we'll continue to source as we need to, but we've now started laying down our own product. And so with a contract distiller. And so moving forward, we'll have more control of our supply, which will be a nice thing. And, the bourbon business is not an easy business, and it takes time, and it takes a lot of effort. We're in 8 states right now. The next state that we'll go to is South Carolina. And then after that, we will probably hit Florida and maybe Texas.
Okay. That's pretty cool. So are you able to decide what states it goes into, or does it all depend on the distributors?
Well, you got to find a distributor that's willing to pick it up and that's going to do a good job for you. But we haven't had any trouble, and with the awards that we've won, they seem to be anxious and want to pick it up. So that's a good thing.
That's good. So more people will be able to pick it up and find it. If you were to tell me and you didn't know I had this, if you were to tell me which bottle to go get, which one would you get? Would you get the 12-year-old or the 8 or?
Well, it depends. The 8 and the 12 are both really excellent bottles. I like the 8-year-old as a daily drinker. The 12-year-old is excellent. but it's going to be a little more oaky. You know, you stay in that barrel longer than 8 years, and you're going to pick up a lot more of that oak. And so it just depends on your taste. You know, some people like that oakiness, and some people it's a turnoff. So,
Right.
you know, I'd say if you want less of the oak, then the 8-year-old would be your bottle, and if you want a little bit more, the 12-year-old is right there. It's a dynamite bottle, and it's, you know, very complex flavor, and it's a really good drink.
Nice. I'm on the lookout for it. As soon as I find it, I'm going to pick them up. But I haven't been able to find. So that's my goal, right? That's where I'm looking for right now to get me some of those.
Well, we've moved a lot of product in Georgia. We just picked up Georgia probably 4 months ago, and Savannah Distributing is our distributor down there, and they've done a heck of a job. Boy, they really have moved a lot of product through the state.
Good. I'll have to be on the lookout. I'll ask my lady to see if she can't order me some. So I had somebody ask me, have you ever been able to incorporate the bourbon into barbecue, into sauces, or into anything else? Is that something that you've even tried to do?
I don't much. That's not something that really that I've really ever had a big interest in. I like to keep my bourbon, and I like to keep my barbecue. I like to drink while I'm cooking barbecue, but I don't generally put the bourbon into my barbecue sauce or anything like that. I will do at the restaurant, we do fried pies, and sometimes we'll do a bananas Foster fried pie and use our bourbon in that Foster's glaze as a flambe. And it's excellent.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, I mean, I had never thought of it. But a lot of these different bourbons, you might have another little layer that you could add into it. Who knows? And I mean, I've thought about it now that somebody brought it up that I was talking to you, and I was like, you know what? We'll look and see how it does and see what we could do with it. But you're always looking for something to play around with.
It's we just actually sent 6 barrels to my buddy Tim Burton with Burton's Maplewood Farms, and he'll fill those barrels with 100% pure maple syrup, and then he'll let that age for a year, and he'll actually heat the outside of the barrel so it releases some of that bourbon into that maple syrup, and we'll have that available in about a year. Then what we'll probably do is he'll bring me those barrels back after he's dumped them and thoroughly emptied them, and we'll probably put some bourbon in there. And it won't be like we're really adding much maple, but it'll give it a maple kiss that should be an excellent finish for some of the bourbon.
Man, that sounds delicious.
Yeah.
What is your favorite part about? I'll go back to barbecue. About owning a barbecue restaurant.
Well, I really like the people. I really like to see people coming in and enjoying our food and having a good time and bringing their families. And it's just very special to me to know that people want to come and share your food with other people or with their family members. It makes you feel really good. And it's been difficult during this COVID, one, because the sales are down, but two, you just don't have the buzz in the restaurant that we've always had. And we're generally a very busy place, and it's always real full, and we've got, it's just concrete floors and center block walls, but that buzz in there and that chatter just really is, it's really kind of electrifying, and it's something that makes you want to cook barbecue every day. It's something that I really enjoy.
Now, are you in the middle of downtown Nashville, the whole bar scene and everything else, or are you? I haven't been to Nashville.
We're off of 8th Avenue. We're in a place called the Gulch, and so we're tucked away a little bit. We're not quite in the heart of downtown. We're right there on the outskirt of the busiest part of downtown. I mean, we're considered downtown, but we're not crammed in there.
I got you. So I've seen on some of your things talking about the bar scene and being able to go eat dinner at your place and head down to the bars, listen to some live music. How is Nashville doing?
Well, Nashville has been hit hard. We've got a thriving tourist business usually, and people like to come and go downtown and go to the honky tonks and listen to live music. And now we've got a 10 o'clock curfew, and so they're not able to do that for as long. And we got restaurants that are supposed to be at 50% capacity, and it's been tough. And then in the middle of it, our mayor gave us a 34% property tax hike. So it's been tough in Nashville, but hopefully, if things get better with COVID, then we'll recover very quickly. People really do want to come back to the city and want to experience Nashville, and we want them there. So we're just hoping we get through this winter and get back with a semi-normal year next year.
Yeah. What are your, speaking of next year, what are your thoughts for Memphis in May next year? Is it going to happen? Is it going to be as big as it was, or do you think it's going to, what do you think about Memphis in May?
Well, we've already gotten an email from the Memphis in May organization, and it's not going to be as big. They're going to limit it to about 145 teams, and it's teams that already paid last year and didn't ask for a refund. I think are going to be the teams that are picked first, and then after that, if they have any more room, then they'll let some people in. But they said they're going to distance it. The booths are going to be they're going to give you 50% more space on your booth, just to be able to spread out some. And so they're already making plans to have it. I'm sure that the city does not want the economic impact of missing Memphis in May for a second year.
Right. I mean, so do you have a big party throughout the week at your site, or is it?
We have a lot of big parties throughout the week. Probably too many parties in my site throughout the week. We don't do it quite as much as we used to, but we still do entertain quite a bit in that in the booth. It's and that's what Memphis in May is all about. It's about seeing your fellow barbecue folks and your family, your barbecue family, and everybody's missed that this year, and it's I think everybody's dying to get back and see each other. I know I've got a lot of people that I cook with throughout the year that I really miss seeing. The U-Bonds crew and John David Wheeler and his crew and Mo Kayson and Sugar Fire, and there's just a lot of folks that we cook with, the Salt Lick and Pappy's, that we miss seeing this year. That normally we cook with, multiple times a year, and so we'll be anxious to get back in the groove and see those friends again.
Yeah, I was able to go to Memphis in May last year, or not last year, whatever. The last time they had it for the first time, and it was a great experience. I hadn't been, and we had a lot of fun. We actually got to hang out with Jay Durbin, and I think he won ribs. He didn't end up winning the whole thing, but so we were there to see him and try the ribs and see what Memphis in May was all about. And it's crazy. You have the huge setups, and then you have the guy that's just a normal, almost like at a normal contest. And everybody's, it's just a neat experience. If you haven't ever been, I think it's somewhere that you've got to go to. I know Ellen, my wife, and I, as soon as it comes back, we're going to go, just so we can go see everybody and be a part of it again. So
it's really cool. It's, if you've never been, it can be overwhelming. It's so huge and it's such a big scope. I think people hear about these different competitions or these different events, and they think, oh, that one's so big or so huge. Excuse me. You go down to the Jack, and I got one leg, and I can walk around the Jack in 15 minutes. It looks about like a backyard competition. It's a little bit bigger, but it's not that big. And you go down to Memphis, and the booths run for a solid mile, and they're 3 wide. It's overwhelming. You don't really leave your booth much because the park's just too big to go see a lot of your friends if they're not close to you.
Right. I mean, that's kind of what we felt like. It was very much overwhelming for us. And I think we got there on a Friday and Saturday. So we missed a lot of the party side of it. We were there for the contest, and we got to hang out with Heath Riles, had a good time there. But it was just a different experience. Looking forward to going back, and hopefully we'll be able to. We know more people now, so we'll be able to be a part of the scene a little bit more. So
Yeah, it's fun, and going and visiting those folks is always fun.
yeah. So back to the bourbon. What bourbon did you drink that made you decide, you know what, I'm going to start my own. I'm going to develop my own bourbon.
Well, I had a relationship and still do with Jim Beam. They're friends and they've been great supporters. They've sponsored my Memphis and May team for probably 14 or 15 years with product. And even now, with my own bourbon company, we still work with Beam on Memphis and May because we're not competitors. They're Beam Suntory. They're a $16 billion corporation. When I first wanted to do something with bourbon and have my own bourbon, I thought that we would make it happen with Beam. But they're just a big company, and trying to get something like that going is very difficult. And so I was able to purchase a batch of bourbon and start experimenting with it. And that's when I started my own bourbon company. And so even though I do my own thing now, I enjoy bourbon from a lot of other places. I have a big collection like you, and I like to drink all different types of bourbon and try out and see what people are doing and see what they come out with. And there's some great stuff on the market now, and a lot of creative new players that are doing some cool new things.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't, like, you talk about how big Jim Beam is, and I didn't realize how many different bourbons they make. Different
Yep.
bourbons come out. Like, I just bought the other day. It's called Old Tub, right? So this is
Yep.
one of the original Beam recipes. So it's one of the old recipes that they decided to release, and told me don't open that because it's going to be a collector's item. And then, like, Basil Hayden is part of the Beam. I didn't know all these different bourbons.
Oh, yeah.
That
Jim Beam White. We were sponsored by Jim Beam Black. That's who we've worked with, which is a great bourbon.
Yep.
One of the best values on the shelf. But they've got, Beam Black. They got Booker's, Baker's, Basil Hayden, Knob Creek. There's a lot. People don't understand. A lot of people don't know that most distilleries have multiple brands, multiple labels coming out of them. I think Buffalo Trace has got 16 or 18 different brands that come out of their distilleries.
Yeah, it was neat. When I was at the store, the distributor was there, and he was giving me a story about Basil Hayden and why the bottle looks like it does, and it's got the burlap with the copper wire wrapped around it, because that's the way that Basil Beam did his packaging back in the Prohibition days or whatever. So it was just interesting, the stories that you hear behind some of these different bourbons, and that's what's so intriguing about yours, right? Like, there's a story that goes behind every one of your bottles, every one of your things, and that's what's so neat to hear about. I like hearing about the hickory, distilling it through the hickory charcoal and everything. It's really cool. I mean, it differentiates it, and it's what makes y'all better.
Well, thank you. It was a unique process that I experimented with for a while, and finally got it down to where we think it's a good product, and we hope people enjoy it. We're trying to expand more, and we hope to take it nationwide when we can. But like I said, right now we're in 8 states, and just trying to slowly expand. Sort of turtle wins the race,
Yeah, I mean, if you decide to go too big and too fast, it might be tough, right? Like, you gotta do it slowly so you don't overwhelm yourself with everything else going on. So,
Yep.
what's the best plate at your restaurant?
We're known for our dry ribs, and so that's really our specialty. We do a true West Tennessee style dry rib. We smoke that rib with nothing on it except for kosher salt and hickory smoke until right before it's going to hit your plate, and that's when it gets hit with it's a barbecue seasoning. It's not as much a rub, and so you get the full flavor of the rib, plus you get the brightness of the spices because they haven't had their flavor cooked out of them. And on our butts, we do rub that butt with our dry seasoning and also salt, because our dry season has very little salt in it. And so it's a different, it's a different rib, and it was originated by the Rendezvous, the Vergas family down in Memphis, and it's actually Greek in origin. Now, the difference between the Rendezvous rib and our rib is that they charbroil theirs over live coals, and they cook them for a shorter period, whereas we smoke ours. And so there's just that's a subtle difference between their ribs and our ribs. And then, of course, the different flavor in the seasoning. But I was always a fan of the dry rib from the Rendezvous and from the Public Eye down in Memphis. And that's why we decided to go with that. Nobody in Nashville was really doing a dry rib. And
yeah, I mean, that's whenever I go to Memphis to go wherever, right, I always stop at Rendezvous. That's just a great place, and great rib. Love that rib. So I'm looking forward to coming to Nashville. When I come to Nashville, I'll make sure that we do hit up your place, and hopefully you'll be there and say hello.
Yeah, absolutely. Whoop, I got a glitch in the matrix here.
Did I lose you?
Yeah, there you go.
There. Sorry about it. What's next for Peg Leg Porker? Bourbon.
Well, like I said, we just started construction on Bringle's Smoking Oasis. It's going to be in the Nations area of Nashville, which is a great up and coming neighborhood. We're excited about it. It's going to be a lot of outdoor area. It sits on a triangular piece of property that was an old gas station. And so we're just modifying the building slightly to add some bathrooms. But then other than that, we're keeping the center gas station island. That's going to be an outdoor bar. It's going to have turf all around on the outdoor area. And we're real excited about it. I think it's going to be a really cool spot right in the middle of that neighborhood. And then in July, we're supposed to open up a place with Delaware North in the Nashville airport. That's going to be called Pig Star. And it'll have a slightly different menu, but you'll be able to get some Peg Leg Porker barbecue there in the airport under the Pig Star brand. And so because we're doing that and we can't smoke as much on site there, we're building a commissary kitchen. So we're in the process of starting that. So we got quite a bit going on. It's going to be a busy 2021, but we hope that it's all good things.
Yeah, it sounds like you're busy and you got a lot going on. So with that commissary, you could do food trucks and stuff like that also, it sounds like.
We could. We've got a trailer that we can use as a food truck. It's just that's a tough business, and so we really hadn't done it a whole lot. But that commissary will also produce the ribs that we ship out for Gold Belly. So we ship nationwide right now. You can order off our website or off of Gold Belly, Peg Leg Porker ribs or pulled pork, and we'll ship it to your door. And that'll give us expanded capabilities to do that.
Nice. That's awesome. I might have to do that.
Yeah.
I saw on your website. Your website's great. You've got a wonderful. It explains the ribs. It explains some of your different bourbons and everything. So if you haven't checked out the website, go check it out because you'll learn a lot of the restaurant, the food, and everything else just from that, just from the website itself. I thought it was interesting. They're like, if you want brisket, you can go to Texas.
Yeah.
I like that. Makes sense.
Well, now we'll be saying if you want brisket, go to the Smoking Oasis across town.
Yeah, you got to change it now. You got to change
right.
those shirts and everything else.
That's right.
Well, good. Well, I look forward to Memphis in May this year. Hopefully, it'll happen again. If it does, I'll make sure that we come. I'll try and find you and introduce myself to you in person. And hopefully by then I'll have opened up this bottle and had it some. But I'm gonna make sure I wait for a special time.
Yeah, we'd love to have you, and we'll have some down there. If you don't bring your bottle, we'll have plenty of Peg Leg in the booth.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate it. I thank you so much for your time. I know you've gone from international to down to little old Chewin the BBQ Fat with me, and I do appreciate it. I've enjoyed talking barbecue and bourbon with you tonight. It's been a lot of fun. But if there's anything else you want anybody to know, how your website, Twitter, do you have anything that people can follow you or anything?
I appreciate it, Brian. Yeah, we've got Twitter is at Peg Leg Porker. Instagram is the same. The website is www.peglegporker.com. Check us out on our social media and follow us on social media. And Facebook is Peg Leg Porker as well. So, if you want to see what we're up to, then we always try and keep everybody up to date on what's happening, and we appreciate everybody's support.
Well, thank you so much. I got one last question. What do you pair in barbecue? Which one do you pair your barbecue with the most? How do you pair your barbecue in your bourbon, your peg leg?
Oh, I drink on a regular everyday basis. I drink the white label, and I like we make a drink at the restaurant called the Pork and Stormy. So it's just our white label bourbon and ginger beer. You can add a splash of lime if you like. The 8-year-old pairs great. We had an article in Bourbon Plus this last year where I did a dinner with Steve Combs, one of their writers, and we paired bourbon and barbecue, and we tasted a bunch of different things. So if you want to see what we paired and what we liked and what we didn't, then you can go check out that article on Bourbon Plus on their archives.
Perfect. I'm going to go look it up tonight.
Yeah.
All right, Carey. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate everything. Follow the show from now on. Tell everybody about us.
I definitely will. I appreciate it, Brian. Thank you, and y'all have a great night.
You too. Thank you, Carey. We'll talk to you soon.
All righty. Bye-bye.
All right. See you.